Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Happy listening. Ponniyin Selvan, Fresh Floods by Kalki, translated by Pavitra Srinivasan. Chapter 7 Of Mirth and Consequences. The moment he heard the words succession to throne, Vandiyadevan decided that he would listen to the entire conversation. What were these men about to discuss regarding the succession? What right did they have to do so anyway? No, his duty was clear. He would have to do some eavesdropping himself, and there was no better place for it than his current location. Alvarkadiyan could go hang himself. Who cared what became of him? Something was about to happen here, something mysterious and disquieting enough to ruffle the realm if possible. For quite some time now, Vandiyadevan had been plagued by the niggling suspicion that the Kadambur palace was the nerve center of strange happenings. Alvarkadiyan's odd little speeches, the palace sentry's heavy-handedness, Sambhuvarayar's belligerent welcome, if indeed it could be called that, the Devaralan's frenzied call for sacrifice, all of these had sparked a discomfort in him that could not be alleviated. Now here was a God-given opportunity to rid himself of conjectures and find out exactly what was happening. Why on earth would he waste it? Not even his beloved Kandamaran could find it in himself to confide about the evening's activities. Here he was at his clandestine meeting, having persuaded his friend to sleep in an isolated balcony. Vandiyadevan would be sure to give him a peace of mind tomorrow. By this time, Parvetarayar had begun to speak. The Vanar warrior concentrated on every word. My purpose in journeying here is to give you news of great import. It is also the reason for why Sambhuvarayar has gathered us all. King Sundara Chorar's state of health is extremely precarious. I have made inquiries of the royal physicians. They are all decided in their opinion. There is not much hope. His days are numbered. Parvetarayar paused. It behooves us now to come to a decision on the future course of action. What do the astrologers say? Came a voice from the midst of the gathering. Why consult them about this? Put in someone else. Haven't we all seen a comet late at night for a while now? The astrologer's prognosis is merely to postpone the inevitable by a few weeks, answered Parvetarayar. Whatever the outcome, it is upon us to decide the heir to the Chora throne. What would be the use of contemplating such a thing? Asked a hoarse voice. Aditya Karikalar was announced Crown Prince more than 2 years ago, was he not? True, but I should like to know which of us, if any, were consulted before such peremptory decision was taken. All of us here have pledged body and soul to the Chora dynasty for more than 100 years. Our clans go back centuries and have been in service to the empire for more than 4 generations. My great-grandfather sacrificed his life in the Tirupurambiyam battle, my grandfather in the conflict at Velur, my father in the battle at Takkulam. Everyone here has lost a valued family member, our sons even, guarding this empire. Today, the war raging in Iram has our youngsters standing shoulder to shoulder, destroying our foes. And yet, none of us were asked for our opinions when it came to choosing the successor to the throne. You will recall that even King Dasarathar called for a council to choose the crown prince for Ayodhya. He sent for his ministers, commanders, aides, generals, and feudal lords, convened a Mandiralosanai and made sure their concerns were heard. Sundara Chora Maharaja, on the other hand, may not have asked our advice, it is true, but our illustrious treasurer is not quite correct to presume that none were consulted. After all, Periya Pirati, the noble Sembiyan Mahadevi, and Ilaya Pirati, the honourable Kundavai Devi, were both taken into his confidence, were they not? Asked a faintly mocking voice. Can Parvetarayar honestly claim now that Sundara Chorar made an arbitrary decision about his heir? A wave of mirth flowed over the audience. You laugh. How you can find it in yourself to be amused at this pathetic situation, I shall never quite understand. My heart burns, my blood boils. I am moved to wonder at the purpose of my pitiful existence on earth. The Devaralan demanded the sacrifice of a royal whose dynasty has flourished 1,000 years. Do me a favor, all of you, and offer me up to Durga. My clan has made Choranadu its home for more than 1,000 years. You may all cleave my head from my body with your swords. The goddess is bound to be pleased with my blood, and my soul will find some measure of peace. Parvetarayar came to a stop, finally, chest heaving, voice shaking with as much frenzied emotion as the possessed Devaralan that evening. Silence reigned for a while. The west wind whirred through the courtyard. Trees outside the fort swung madly in the stiff breeze, their branches rustling and whispering against the fort walls. The king of Paravur must pardon our thoughtless speeches and laughter. Ridicule was very far from our minds. Such was not our intention. You are our peerless leader, and each one of us here is willing to deem your smallest wish our command, supplicated Sambhuvarayar. At his humblest, yours is the right to lead us. Yours is the path we seek to follow. Pray accept our apologies, my lord. I beg your pardon as well for having lost my temper. Do but listen. This time 100 years ago, Vijayalaya Chorar reduced the Muttarayar dynasty to dust and captured Tanjavur. He ranged himself on the side of the Pallavas and destroyed the Pandyan armies in the Tirupurambiyam battle. Ever since, the Chola Empire has grown by leaps and bounds. I doubt if it possessed the territories it does today in the times of the great Emperor Karikalar who raised the banks of the Kaveri. Today, our magnificent Samrajyam stretches from the tip of the Kumari to the banks of the river Tungabhadra and Krishna. We have Pandiyanadu, Nanjalnadu, Tondai Mandalam, Paginadu, Gangappadi, Nulumbampadi, Vaitumbal Nadu, Seetupuli Nadu, Perumbanapadi, Kudagu Nadu, the birthplace of Kaveri, paying tributes as our vessels. Even Cheranadu, which has a history of never submitting to others, acknowledges our suzerainty. Our glorious tiger flag flutters in all these countries, proclaiming our superiority. By rights, Eram in the south, Vengi and Rettai Mandalam in the north ought to have fallen to their knees before our onslaught. As to why they have not, surely my friends here are aware of the reasons? Indeed, there are only two. One is Aditya Karikalar, the Matanda Nayakar of the northern Chola forces. The other is his younger brother, the commander of the southern armies, Adulmuri Varmar. Maravaraya speaks the truth. All the kings I knew favored time-honored methods of choosing their generals or commanders. Warriors who had excelled in wars and sported their scars proudly with years of experience at their backs were usually deemed more suitable to lead armies. Such was the custom in our empire too, for the last 100 years. But now we have the crown prince, quartered with the vast armies in the north, supposed to reap victories against Vengi and Rettai Mandalam, and what does he do instead? Squats on his hindquarters in Kanchi, building a palace of gold. I ask you, respected members of this gathering, scions of Tamiragam's oldest and most valiant families, which of the rulers of this land has ever built himself a golden palace? Not even Parantaka Chakravarti, who vanquished Madurai, Eram, and now resides in resplendent glory in the heavenly abode of Kailasam, ever wished such an extravagant residence for himself. What he did accomplish was to present the Chidambaram temple with a roof of gold. But witness, if you please, the lofty aims of our revered crown prince. Apparently, the hoary palaces of the Pallava emperors are not quite suited to the status of the heir to the throne. He builds a palace of gold and embeds diamonds and precious stones into its walls. Not a single measly copper coin of the treasures he carried away from Nulambampadi, Gangappadi, or Kudagu has made its way back to the Chora royal treasury. The golden palace is complete then? I have reliable information from my spies that work is, indeed, at an end. Sundara Chorar has received quite a few missives from our prince as well. Apparently, his beloved and dutiful firstborn wishes his father to reside in his obscenely opulent edifice for a while. Is the Maharaja to stay in Kanchi? Asked a worried voice. Never fear, my trusted brother and I together shall make sure that such an eventuality will never come to pass. None can enter the Tanjai fort without our express approval, seek an audience with the king, or present any kind of olay to him. I have in fact made sure that 2 or 3 such palm leaves have been successfully intercepted. Ah, long live Parvatarayar! Praise be to his strategies, rose several voices in a shout. May his valor rise to greater heights. Truly, you are a Chanakya among us. There is more, my friends. If you thought the crown prince of his royal mind, wait until you listen to the antics of Prince Arulmozhivarmar, sent to fight in Ilankai. Reflect, if you please, on the methods of waging war, on our own experiences thus far, and on traditions that have been in place for 100 years. Should we ever march into an enemy's land, our armies seize what food they can from the surrounding areas. Our rewards are the loot plundered from their treasuries, and they are the chief source of payment to our soldiers. The surplus must be transferred to the royal treasury in the capital. But listen to Prince Arulmozhivarmar's high-flown sentiments, if you will. He believes that plundering conquered land is a despicable act and wishes for food to be sent from Tamilagam. The good God above knows that I have sent more than 10 shipments of grains and pulses. What idiocy is this? Such foolishness, rose outraged voices. Such things have never been heard of. Why must we put up with this injustice? Do, but listen to Arulmozhivarmar's odd explanation for his outlandish conduct. He refuses to seize local sources as that would lead to discontent and misery among the populace. Our battle, he believes, is with Eram's rulers. The people should not be made to suffer for his sake. Once he has vanquished them and their armies, he would much prefer to secure their approval and happiness before he establishes his rule over them. I have seen and heard many unnatural things in battle, but to acquire the goodwill of the people about to be invaded, mumbled one member of the gathering, disbelief evident in his voice. What does he wish us to do? Fall at their feet? Witness the result of these harebrained tactics. Both our princes have ensured that the treasury and granaries are almost empty, and I am placed in the uncomfortable position of heaping taxes on you to make good the deficit. Such is my duty, after all, and if it were not for the fact that the empire's fate weighs heavily on my conscience, I would have resigned this revolting post years ago. Never, never. The Parvur king is the only reason the empire has not crumbled into dust by now. Your iron will and conscience ensures our protection. But have you not sought an audience with the king regarding such pressing concerns? 1,000 times have I tried, only to be repulsed categorically. Should I ever require His Majesty's advice, I am, if you please, supposed to bow down to the superior guidance of Periyapirati or Ilayapirati. I tell you, the king has lost the will or ability to think for himself. At no moment does he seek our opinions in vital matters. His beloved Sembian Mahadevi stands in the role of a mentor. Her words are as holy as the Vedas to him. That, or he wishes us to seek the opinion of his beloved daughter Kundavai. He believes her understanding to be most superior and capable of addressing all our concerns. I and other ministers who have grown grey in our service are expected to stand at attention in front of this chit of a girl, a sheltered girl whose dainty feet have not stepped beyond Kollidam in the north and river Kudamurutti in the south, and beg her precious indulgence? Have you ever heard of women being allowed such free rein in matters of state in any kingdom? How long do you expect me to bear with such insult to my name and fame? But there is a way out. You could come to a unanimous decision and demand my resignation. I should be very glad indeed to free myself from these stupid affairs and consign myself to my home. Never! The Parvur king must not even think to utter such terrible words, Sambhuvarayar called out. The Chora Empire stands today on the shoulders of thousands of warriors, strengthened by the blood of 4 generations of our men. Nothing will induce us to see it ground into dust in our lifetime. My friends and compatriots, I rest my case, finished Parvetarayar. Our empire is now governed by females. We have a veritable Alli Rajyam on our hands. How do we rectify this terrible state of affairs? He paused. What do we do? End of chapter. Hidden meanings and explanations. Kudagu, today's Coorg in Karnataka. Alli Rajyam. Said to be a legend in Mahabharata, Alli was a Pandyan queen who harbored such hatred for men that every single official in her kingdom, administrative or otherwise, was a woman. Men, it is said, were little more than playthings in her rule, and she treated them with contempt, until of course her nemesis arrived in the form of Arjuna, the most macho of the Pandava brothers, who subjugated her and made her a true woman. The tale was all the rage, retold in street plays and theatres among the general populace. The Alli Kadai and Alli Arasani Malai were and are popular folk versions. Eeram, Ilankai, today's Sri Lanka. End. I hope you guys enjoyed listening. Please do like, share, and subscribe and comment your thoughts. Thank you.